then the synthesis and regulation of histamine, and yung initial chart mo regarding receptor subtypes on histamine. So ito yung slide na. So picture muna. Regarding the receptor subtypes or histamine receptor subtypes, all of them are GPCR or G-protein coupled receptors, in which for histamine 1 receptor, GQ-linked siya na receptor. And these are the locations of histamine 1 receptor. They are widely distributed in the extravascular smooth muscles ng bronchioles or in the respiratory airways ng lungs, the alveoli, in which activation of histamine 1 receptor there causes bronchoconstriction. Also, we have histamine 1 receptor in the endothelial cells. Since GQ-link na yung histamine 1 receptor, so contraction of endothelial cells yung net effect or response kapag na-stimulate yung histamine 1 receptor doon. So vascular smooth muscles, examples of blood vessel, vasodilation naman yung effect or yung response, and that is mainly due to the activity of nitric oxide and prostacyclin. And then we also have H1 receptors, hindi siya nasulat dito, but I believe in your notes meron. Sa sensory nerve endings, ano yung effect or responses to yun kapag na-activate yung histamine 1 receptors, pain and itchiness. And then lastly, sa brain, pag na-activate, yung activation or stimulation of histamine 1 receptor sa brain, it will cause CNS stimulation or the feeling of wakefulness. Okay? So those are the cells, the target organs or the tissues where widely distributed yung histamine 1 receptor. So let's proceed to the second subtype of histamine receptor. We have histamine 2 receptor. So based on this illustration, there are also numerous cells or tissues or organs where distributed yung histamine 2 receptor. But can you take note, among these illustrations, ang histamine 2 receptor, it is most dominant or mostly pronounced siya dito sa parietal cells. Okay, I repeat. Ang histamine 2 receptor, widely distributed siya or mas dominant siya sa parietal cells. And pag sinabi parietal cells, it is the one present sa stomach. Okay, so sa stomach na siya parietal cells. And it plays an important role sa stomach. Particularly, yung parietal cell, importante siya for the release of hydrochloric acid in the stomach. Also, important ito for the release, production of intrinsic factor. Okay, and yung intrinsic factor is required for vitamin B12 absorption. Okay, so those are the roles, physiological roles ng parietal cells in the stomach. Necessary siya for HCl secretion and intrinsic factor secretion, which is important for vitamin B12 absorption. Now, going back to the histamine 2 receptor activation of sa parietal cells, can you take note, yung effect or response dito is there will be enhanced basal gastric acid secretion. Enhanced yung basal gastric acid secretion. Yan yung kumbaga response ng parietal cell if na-activate yung histamine 2 receptor doon. Taas yung gastric acid secretion, so yung end result, net result sa HCl level, tataas yung HCl level. Okay, so again, dominantly found yung histamine 2 receptor sa parietal cells. Also, sa other na mga locations ng histamine 2 receptor, although hindi ka doon ka-significantly observe ang histamine 2 receptor doon, can you take note as well na meron din few H2 receptors sa mast cells, so that's number 2, and also sa basophils. So yung figure na yan, or illustration na yan, number 2, that's mast cell. And then yung number 3, that represents basophil. So So may H2 receptor dito. And activation of H2 receptor sa mast cell and basophils is we recall mast cells, di ba? It stores majority of histamine. So kung na-activate yung mast cell, it will cause degranulation of histamine. Kaya ma-release ngayon yung histamine sa mast cell. So yung effect dito, increase yung histamine release. Okay, kapag na-activate ulit, ang histamine 2 receptor sa mast cell or basophils, increase yung histamine release. Kasi nagkaroon ng degranulation. Okay? And then, kindly add sa heart then, number 4, there will be frequent heartbeats. So same sa histamine 1 receptor, frequent heartbeats. Same sa activation of histamine 1 receptor sa puso. Also, may nakasulat dito, may na-illustrate dito na parang blood vessel. So there will be vasodilation din. Same sa histamine 1 receptor na activation. And then mayroong brain ulit. So same lang gihapon. Diba? Sa histamine 1 receptor, meron daw doon sa brain or sa CNS. Ganun din. Histamine 2 receptor, meron din significantly observed may histamine 2 receptor sa brain. Okay? So, sa utak, activation ng histamine 2 receptor in the brain causes also stimulation. So, there will be feeling of wakefulness. Okay? Sige. So, these are the tissue, cells, organs wherein widely expressed, no? Yung histamine 2 receptor. Pero yung pinaka-most dominant, makikita doon yung histamine 2 receptor sa parietal cells. Okay, so later on, yung mga gamot na madadiscuss, most likely they target histamine 1 and histamine 2 receptors. So you should build foundation on this information regarding receptor activation sa histamine 1 and also histamine 2 so that madali na lang yung pag-insert ng gamot. If yung gamot is an agonist of histamine receptor, then it will just support all this action. Kasi pag agonist, they activate, they stimulate this receptor. So yun ang i-support yung mga na-discuss dito ng mga effects. Whereas kapag antagonist or blocker of histamine receptor yung being kumbaga presented, then iba-block nila itong mga effects na to. Okay? Sige. So, although walang madadiscuss ng mga gamot that are kumbaga agonist or antagonist of histamine 4 or histamine 3, I will still give you an overview on the receptor activation, the locations of histamine 3 and histamine 4 receptor. Okay? Sige, let's start with histamine 3. By the way, histamine 3 and histamine 4 receptor, they are GI linked. So kung GI linked, they are associated with inhibitory effects. Okay, so inhibitory effects, parang negative effects. Okay, so one of the location ng histamine 3 receptor, number 1, they are widely distributed in the presynaptic neuron. Okay, in the presynaptic neuron. And I believe you have knowledge already on the presynapse. Ano yung mga important events sa presynapse? Naalala yung SSR? Storage, synthesis, storage, and release of what? Neurotransmitter. Also, may na-discuss doon sa presynapse, there are receptors also found in presynapse, and they are considered autoreceptors. Na kung saan, kung ang isang autoreceptor na activate, the end result or response is auto-regulation. Okay? So, since histamine 3 receptor can be found in the presynapse, it is considered there as autoreceptor. So, kung na-stimulate doon yung histamine 3 receptor sa presynapse, autoregulate nyo na. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng autoregulate? Inhibit or stimulate and further release ng neurotransmitter. Inhibit. Kasi nga auto-regulate. Yang modulate. No? yung release ng neurotransmitter. So, take note, kapag autoregulation inhibited, okay, there is further inhibition. Inhibit yung further release of histamine in this case. Kasi we're talking about histamine 3 receptor. So, yung inhibit the release would be the neurotransmitter histamine. Na-mention ko sa previous na topic natin na sa CNS, ang histamine acts as neurotransmitter. Okay? So, inhibited yung further release ng histamine. Okay, kindly add also number 2, there are histamine 2 receptor in the ileum part of the small intestine. This is small intestine being illustrated. Ileum part ng small intestine. And activation of histamine 2 receptor doon causes relaxation or decrease yung tonicity, okay, ng smooth muscle sa small intestine. So, kung decrease ngayon yung tonicity or relax ngayon yung smooth muscles doon, that leads to constipation. Okay? There will be loss of peristalsis. Constipation will happen. So, yan yung kumbaga result or response kapag na-activate yung histamine 2 receptor sa ileum ng small intestine. Then also, in the heart, may nakasulat dyan na illustration. May histamine 2 receptor sa heart and since inhibitory effect, that would be negative inotrophy, decrease yung strength na contraction of heart, decrease yung chronotrophy, so decrease yung heart rate. Diba? Chronotrophy sa medical term related to heart rate. Then, may lungs dito na naka-illustrate. So, I need take note, may histamine 3 receptor din doon and yung end result would be at ease yung ventilation. Okay? Kasi there will be bronchodilation. Okay? Bronchodilation lahat. So, yan yung related na mga effects or responses kapag na-activate yung histamine 3 receptors. Pero most dominant yung histamine 3 receptor dito sa presynapse. So, autoregulation will happen. Decrease ngayon yung level ni histamine release. Basta autoregulate, baba. Baba yung level ng histamine. Okay? And then lastly, histamine 4 receptor, there are only few na mga cells, inflammatory cells, wherein widely expressed yung histamine 4 receptor. And one here, yung illustrated, is mast cell. Meron sa mast cell, histamine 4 receptor. And we have mentioned earlier na kung na-stimulate yung mast cell, degranulation will happen. So, increase yung histamine release. Meron din histamine 4 receptor sa, this is bone marrow. Bone marrow. So, may kinalaman sa hematopoiesis. Okay? Hematopoiesis, yung blood cell production. Okay? So, may histamine 4 receptor doon sa hematopoietic cell ng bone marrow. Okay? So, our realization here, kapag na-stimulate doon yung histamine 4 receptor, increase yung blood cell production. And meron din sa ileum. Okay? So, overview lang yan or brief overview on the location, responses, kapag na-activate yung histamine 3 receptor and histamine 4 receptor sa kanilang designated na mga tissues or sa kung asa sila makita. But again, yung madadiscuss na drugs later on, most of them, they target histamine 1 and histamine 2 receptor. Even sa market, no? Kung commercially available, common, no? Commercially available na drugs that targets histamine receptors, they mainly target histamine 1 receptor or histamine 2 receptor. So please familiarize this, no? Especially yung sa histamine 1 and histamine. Okay, so that's all about receptor subtypes. Okay, now yung second slide dito, this also discusses the information that presented here sa figure. Ito lang nakatabulate. Tabulated lang yung information na pre-present kanina. So this still talks about the 4 subtypes of histamine receptors. Histamine 1, 2, 3, 4. Saan sila located? Ano yung G protein coupled sa kanila? And ano yung effect kapag na-stimulate yung particular histamine receptor doon sa particular tissue or cell sa katawan. Example, histamine 1 receptor. This is just to reinforce yung information na present kanina. Okay, recall nga may histamine 1 receptor sa extravascular smooth muscles, example, yung sa alveoli ng lungs. Meron din sa endothelial cells, may histamine 1 receptor doon, also in the heart and in the CNS. And recall that it is GQ, GQ link or coupled na receptor, ang histamine 1. Okay, relating to activation of histamine 1 in endothelial cells, what's the effect? Increase yung capillary permeability. Okay? Kaya may nakalagay dyan. It increases the permeability, the vascular permeability. Next, histamine 2. Saan siya mostly expressed? Sa parietal cells. Diba? Na-mention din kanina, histamine 2 receptor. And it is GS-linked. Okay? Kapag na-stimulate yung or activate yung histamine 2 receptor sa parietal cells, ano yung effect? Okay, enhance, increase yung gastric acid secretion. O, yan lang din yun, presented na. Then histamine 3, mostly found in the presynapse. Nalalabas sila yung presynaptic ng brain, vasomotor center na siya. So, it has something to do with the CNS. So, it is mostly found in the CNS, so sa presynapse. And sabi, di ba, it is GI-linked. Kaya take note kapag presynaptically located yung receptor, auto-regulation will happen. And finally, histamine 4, they are found mainly in the hematopoietic cell of the bone marrow. And in most references, yung G protein coupled sa kanya is also GI-linked. Okay, so just focus on histamine 1 and histamine 2 receptor location niya and accompanying niya responses or effects kapag na-activate doon, yung histamine 1 or histamine 2. Now, try to observe regarding sa effects nila, they actually contribute to the pathological development of diseases. Like for example, yung mga na-discuss dito na mga effects under histamine 1 receptor activation, puro related sa halimbawa allergic reaction. Example, bronchoconstriction, there will be difficulty in breathing. Diba kapag may allergic reaction or anaphylaxis, one of the clinical presentation or manifestations about there will be difficulty in breathing is because of bronchoconstriction. And yung hindi nasulat dito, but nasa yung notes, yung itching. Diba kung may allergic reaction, may itchiness, may pain felt. What else? May vasodilation. That's why may redness during allergic reaction. Kasi there is increased blood flow. Vasodilated kasi yung blood vessels. Okay? So observe na yung mga effects, majority of them, kapag na-activate yung mga receptor na to, somehow negative yung outlook niya. That's why we need a treatment to oppose those effects. Diba delikado yung bronchoconstriction, yung pain, diba? Yung itchiness. As much as possible, we have to counteract those clinical presentation. That's why, later on, meron tayong madidiscuss na mga gamot, more on mga blockers of this histamine receptors. Even sa market, di ba? Yung available na mga gamot that targets histamine receptor, mga anti-histamine. So, may anti, they block, they inhibit histamine receptor. Okay? So, yun. So, more on blockers yung i-discuss natin mamaya. Are you following? Yes. Okay. But there are also few na mga agonists. Pero again, majority sa mga gamot na nag-target of histamine receptor, more of them are antagonists. antagonists, blockers, inhibitors. Sige, let's start discussing the different drugs that targets histamine. Let's start with agonists. So kung agonists, they are activators. They are stimulators. Meaning they support these effects. Kanya itong mga na-discuss na, these are all about activation of histamine receptor. So kung agonists, they support lahat those responses. So these are the only agonists of histamine receptor. Particularly yung first on the list, obsolete na siya. So hindi na siya ginagamit ngayon. Yung synthetic one. Okay? Yung synthetic, yung talagang laboratory synthesized na histamine, obsolete na yung use niya. But before, ang gamit niya is, it is used as pulmonary function test. So may kinalaman sa pulmonary system. So ginagamit siya before as particularly provocative test. Sulat nyo, provocative test. Okay, sa pulmonary system. Or para siyang stress test or trigger test sa capacity sa atuang pulmonary or sa atuang bronchioles. Okay? Kumbaga, how well is working ba yung bronchioles natin. So, gina-trigger siya, gina-provoke siya, gina-undergo siya of stress test. Just to measure how well yung bronchioles natin is functioning. So, yan yung gamit niya before. Kasi nga, diba, nag-focus siya ng bronchoconstriction. So, pwede siya as provocative test for pulmonary functioning test. Also, and may kinalaman yan sa histamine 1 receptor activation, di ba? Also, ginamit siya before to determine the adequacy of gastric acid secretion. Anong receptor subtype ito? May kinalaman kapag gastric acid secretion. Okay, histamine 2 receptor, correct. So, ginagamit siya before, just to assess, the adequacy. Ibig sabihin niya, mag-test yung maximum peak amount of gastric acid na pwedeng masecrete ng stomach natin. Kasi nga, kaya niyang i-stimulate yung histamine. Kaya niyang i-stimulate, of course, yung histamine 2 receptors of parietal cells. Okay? So, ginamit siya before. Okay? So, yan yung mga gamit niya before. Old uses of histamine. At ngayon, obsolete na yung use niya. Kasi nga, generally speaking, kung histamine, kaya niya i-activate, di ba? Lahat ng receptor subtypes and yung analysis natin kanina sa mga responses and effects, mga negative yung mga responses niya or yung mga effects niya. Okay, so obsolete na yung use niya. So yung commercially available, still useful na histamine agonist is yung betahistine. And this is marketed under the brand name Surge. So ano ba yung uses niya or kumbaga natin uses, the MOA? Ano ba yung mechanism of action niya? Okay, nakasulat dito. Activator siya or agonist of histamine 1 receptor. So yung mga naaral kanina, na-present kanina na responses related to histamine 1 receptor activation, dito yun pasok. Okay, kasi nga agonist siya of histamine 1 receptor. Halimbawa sa bronchioles, what will happen? Bronchoconstriction. Okay, so pala symptoms niya associated with the use of this drug. Bronchoconstriction will happen sa capillary permeability, enhance niya yun yung capillary permeability. Okay? Yan. So, and the rest of the responses related to activation of histamine 1 receptor. Another use ni betahistine is an antagonist of histamine 3. Okay, tingnan. Histamine 3 receptor. So, meron siyang ability to block. Okay, block histamine 3. Okay, ato sa i-recall yung location ni histamine 3 receptor. Yung number 1 sa listahan. Nasa siya makita? Okay, very good. Nasa sa presynaptic neuron. Okay? And, sige, ato sa i-recall yung activation. If we activation of histamine 3 receptor doon sa presynapse, ano yung end result, auto-regulation. Pag auto-regulation, what happens to the level of histamine? Okay, low. Yan yung related kung activation, kung agonist ng histamine 3. Pero sabi dito, antagonist man siya ng histamine 3 receptor. So kung antagonist, it will inhibit the auto-regulation. So what will happen to the level of histamine? Opposite. So taas ngayon yung histamine. Okay? And kung may presence of histamine, it will support the histaminergic neurotransmission. Tama? Kung may available histamine, that's actually supporting the neurotransmission related to histaminergic process. Okay? Kaya, kahit pa may antagonist siya na, kumbaga, mechanism, it is still under agonist na drug. Nakuha ninyo? Kasi nga napapataas niya yung histamine level. So it is an agonist. In a bigger umbrella, agonist pa rin siya. Kasi may presence, available ngayon na histamine. Hindi naman niya binlock yung histamine level. Okay? Histamine level ba? The neurotransmitter itself, the compound itself. Okay? Are you following? Okay, sige. Now, are you familiar with this drug, betahistine? No? Okay. Sir, are you familiar with the term vertigo?
Yes.
Okay. This is the most useful drug for the management of vertigo. Ito ng vertigo, lipong-lipong, di ba? Tarang pagkakaroon ng spinning sensation or dizziness. Experiencing dizziness yung pasyente. Sige. Bakit ba pwede gamitin yung betahistine in the management of vertigo? Okay, that is because, sige, ato sa understand yung mismong condition ng vertigo. The reason why nagkakaroon ng dizziness or yung sensational feeling na like spinning na feeling, kasi nagkakaroon siya ng loss of balance. Okay? Nagkakaroon ngayon ng loss of balance, postural balance, yung tao. That is mainly due to irritation of the inner ear. Irritation of inner ear portion. Again, nagkakaroon ng loss of balance felt by the patient due to irritation in the inner ear. Yung portion ng inner ear, yan mismo yung connected sa utak na may kinalaman sa postural balance ng tao. So kung irritated siya, magkakaroon talaga ng loss of balance sa posture ng tao. Kaya may feeling of dizziness, sensational feeling na malipong siya. Question, bakit ba na-irritate yung inner ear? The main rationale behind or the cause, causative reason bakit may irritation sa inner ear, it's because constricted yung blood vessels sa area malapit sa inner ear. There is constriction of blood vessels doon mismo sa inner ear area. Okay? Therefore, with that problem, betahistine can be used. Balikan niyo yung action ng stimulation or activating histamine 1 receptor sa blood vessel. Tingnan. Ano yung ginagawa niya kapag i-stimulate, i-activate yung vascular smooth muscle or sa blood vessel, there is vasodilation. So, yan yung i-counteract na problem. Tama? Okay, yan ang i-counteract na problem. So with the help of its activity, na nagkukos siya ng histamine 1 receptor agonist, there will be vasodilation ngayon sa blood vessel. Kaya pwede siya gamitin in the management of vertigo. So that's betahistine. And yan lang yung drug, na merong, kumbaga, clinical use, clinical benefit, activating histamine receptor. So, yan lang yung histamine agonist na i-discuss natin. Yung isa, obsolete na yung use. Okay, let's proceed to antagonist na. Starting with those blockers of histamine 1 receptor. Okay, so regarding histamine 1 blockers, they are subdivided into two based on generation. So meron tayong first generation and then second generation na H1 blocker. So yung differences nila has something to do with their, of course, structure. You have medicinal words ka ron? Wala ka? Ano ba? Syempre, wala sa medicinal word, mas ma-appreciate ninyo ang mechanism of action ng drug. Kasi ang MOA actually ng drug, may kinalaman sa structure. We call it structure-activity relationship. Okay? So, okay, the reason why nakasulat dyan, ang mga first generation daw are highly sedating. It has something to do with their structure. Kasi yung structure mismo ng gamot, highly lipophilic. Pag lipophilic, polar or non-polar? Okay, non-polar. Luna, di ba? Are you familiar with that? Luna, okay. So, non-polar sila ng mga gamot. That's why they are able to penetrate the triple B. Ano ba yung triple B? Okay, kasi ang blood-brain barrier lipophilic. So kung ang gamot is also lipophilic, it can really penetrate well. Kaya nakakapasok siya, nakaka-penetrate siya sa CNS. Question, do we have H1 receptor sa CNS? Sa brain? Yes. Okay. So, with that action, kung kaya niyang mag-penetrate sa triple bar, it will affect the CNS. Okay, it will affect CNS. Kaya, sedating yung mga H1 blocker. Kaya iyang i-block, di ba, antagonist, iyang i-block yung histamine 1 receptor sa CNS. Kung blockade of histamine 1 receptor sa CNS, instead of wakefulness, sedation. Opposite one yung mangyayari. Are you following? Okay. That's why usually mga antihistamine, na sila yung drowsiness na response or effect sa katawan or sedating sila. Okay. Additionally, listen, yung first gen ng mga antihistamine or histamine 1 blocker, they have additional effects. Sabi dyan, atropine-like effects. So, ato sa inyo, ano yung atropine? Like. No? Atropine, that is to relate its classification na mga, sige, question, ano ba yung atropine? Cholinomimetic or cholinolytics? Cholinolytics, diba? So, they are anti-cholinergic. Kaya in some other references, pag first gen na H1 blocker, meron silang anti-cholinergic effects din. Anti-cholinergic effects. Especially ethanolamines and mga ethylene diamines na mga H1 blocker. How do you identify anti-cholinergic effects? Okay. Naalala yung dumbbells? Ang dumbbells, may kinalaman sa cholinergic toxidrome. So, inyong buhaton, inyo lang yung opposite of dumbbells. Ano yung opposite ni diarrhea? Constipation. So, yung opposite ni urination. Retention. Opposite ni meiosis. Miliasis. Opposite ni bronchoconstriction. So, modo siya ang mga anti-cholinergic effects. Yung opposite lang ninyo, yung alam nyo na cholinergic toxidrome. Okay, kasi anti man siya, anti-cholinergic. So, always remember, first gen ng mga histamine 1 blocker, aside from they block histamine 1 receptor, they have additional effect, anti-cholinergic. Okay, ang mga second generation naman, they are less sedating. Bakit sila less sedating? Kasi less lipophilic sila. Kumbaga, majority silang structure, more on polar ang meron sa kanila sa structure. Kaya less lipophilic, less sedating. Specifically yung less sedating one, mga piperazines. tayong group of H1 blocker na non-sedating at all. They do not cause drowsiness, they do not cause sedation. So, ang reason ana, they cannot penetrate sa triple B. Ngano ka ha? Dili sila lipophilic. Okay, dili sila non-polar. Instead, polar. Highly polar sila na gamot. Okay, so that's the reason bakit non-sedating sila. Wala silang action sa CNS, kaya dili man sila makapenetrate po sa CNS. So usually, di ba na ay mga consumers na they prefer those antihistamines na non-drowse. Kay requirements sa ilang trabaho. Diba, may mga trabaho na highly required yung focus. Example, mga piloto. What if they atake sa allergic rhinitis? Iso sila tagaan ng antihistamine na para makatulog sila. Siyempre, ang highly recommended ni hatag sila sa antihistamine yung mga non-sedating. So, depende na siya sa kumbaga, gusto ng tao, gusto ba niya na talagang yung non-drowse kasi requirements sa iyong work na hindi pwede katulog ko. Okay? So, kamo kung dibatin ng allergic reaction, like allergic rhinitis, antihistamine na ginamit natin. So, kung gusto mo makadabiling katulgon mo, then you can have the non-sedating one. Okay? So, later, ato naman discuss, ano yung mga piperidines? Halimbawa, ng mga H1 antihistamine na non-sedating. Okay? So, let's start with the first gen. Ito yung mga halimbawa na mga first generation H1 blocker. Okay? And they are divided into 6. Okay? Based on structure, chemistry. Nasa like ethanolamines, ethylamines, piperazines, alkylamines, phenothiazines, and piperidines. Okay, let's start with, by the way, again overview, lahat yan, ang first generation H1 blocker, majority of them, they exhibit sedating effect. But among this, ang most sedating talaga, yung mga na-belong sa ethanolamines. Sila talaga yung most sedating. In fact, meron silang significantly observed anticholinergic effects. Significant anticholinergic effects. Okay? Ayan. Again, most sedating, at the same time, merong significantly observed anticholinergic effect. Anticholinergic effect, opposite of dumbbells. Okay, example of ethanolamines, we have diphenhydramine. You're familiar, I think you're familiar with the brand. Yung Benadryl. Okay, Benadryl. And then dimenhydrinate, yan yung salt form. Okay, salt form of this one. Okay, diphenhydrinate. Again, ang dimenhydrinate, salt form na siya ni diphenhydramine. Doxylamine, this is marketed under the brand name Bendectib. Okay, Bendectib. And then carbinoxamine, marketed under the brand name Clistin. Okay. Next, ethylene diamines, we have 2, pyrylamine and triethylamine. Hindi kayo masyadong common, no? Yung piperazine, common kaayo siya, marketed, no? Sa commercially. Hydroxyzine, ito yung Iterax. Okay, Iterax. It's actually a prodrug of cetirizine. Familiar with cetirizine, I'm sure. Okay? And cetirizine, wala siya dito sa slide kasi it's a second generation. Okay? Second gen siya. So, nabilong siya sa less sedating nga antihistamine, cetirizine. Okay? Susulat nyo, less sedating. Kasi pag second generation, less sedating, usually. Okay? Pag sinabing prodrug siya, sa katawan, it has to be metabolized first to form its active form. So, cetirizine yung active form niya. Active metabolite. Meclizine, ito yung present, no? Or the generic of Bonamine. Bonamine. Anti-motion sickness. before ka mag-travel, 30 minutes before mag-travel, to prone to motion sickness, nag-take sila ng Bonamid. Cyclizine, marketed under the brand name Marizide. Okay, yung mga alkylamines naman, ito yung common na antihistamines present sa mga cold preparation, yung para sa sipon, like chlorphenamide. Okay, or that's also chlorpheniramine. Again, clarification lang ha, ang chlorpheniramine, ano siya, is the same lang, synonymous lang siya with chlorphenamine. Chlorphenamine. Yung present sa Newsep, Bioflu, Dipolgen, basta kapulin nyo yung mga ginatake ko noon, ha? Tambal, okay? Yung generic name, no, ng Bioflu, nakanin to, chlorphenamine maleate. So, anong realization natin? Isa siya, antihistamine. Brompheniramine. That's actually brom. Okay, brompheniramine. Next, phenothiazine, like promethazine. This is marketed under the brand name Phenergan. And this is used as pre-anesthetic agent. Anesthetic agent. Then lastly, cyproheptadine. Isa siyang pyperidine. Ito, mas ginagamit ito for the management of serotonin syndrome. Pag sinabi serotonin syndrome, there is excessive release of serotonin. Okay? So, bakit pwede si cyproheptadine? Kasi apart from blocking histamine 1 receptor, meron din siyang anti-serotonergic. Serotonergic activity. Okay? Meron siyang additional ba? Miscellaneous action. Binablock niyo yung serotonin receptors. So these are examples ng histamine 1 blocker first generation. Most of them are sedating and they are accompanied by anticholinergic effects. Pero ang pinaka may observable sedating action, yung mga nabilong sa ethanolamine. Okay, let's proceed to second generation. H1 blocker pa rin. Again, histamine 1, hindi hapon nilang ginablock, pero mga second generation, sila yung mga less lipophilic. Less lipophilic sila kasi more on polar sila ng mga gamot. Okay, so ang piperazine, mainly sila yung less sedating. Less sedating, kumpara sa first generation. So example, cetirizine, which is marketed under the brand name Zyrtec. Levocetirizine is a derivative. Obviously, sa pangalan, derivative siya ng cetirizine. And then lastly, ito yun, yung mga non-sedating talaga. Non-sedating. Na mga antihistamine. Okay, loratadine. Brand name, Claritin. Example lang niya siya. Desloratadine, that's actually an active metabolite of loratadine. Active metabolite of loratadine. Okay? Medyo madali lang siya i-recall na non-sedating kung loratadine. Diba? Kung lorat, ang so hindi ka tulog. Ano lang siya, parang to easily recall, palatanda. Then, fexofenadine naman, this is marketed under the brand name Alendra. So again ha, ako lang i-emphasize, kung non-sedating, sila talaga yung highly recommended kapag ang consumer, usually, requirement sa kanya sa work is talagang kailangan ng focus, kailangan hindi katulgon, example, mga piloto, pilots, drivers, isod kayo na, nag-allergic rhinitis of sagaan mo siya antihistamine nga, makatulog siya. Okay, prone siya no, to accidents. Sige. So those are the drugs, no, ng mga H1 blocker. So nahati siya na First gen, naadayoy. Second generation. So, kinsa sa duha, ang lesser ang side effects? First gen or second gen? Second gen. Okay, mga second gen. And that's actually the rationale, no, behind nanong natin mga gamot na by generation. The moment na higher yung generation, lesser na siya ang side effects. Ngano maghimo man ka og drug, no, na bago, tapos mas mas daghan na nung siya side effect kaysa sa prototype. Siyempre, ang atong gusto is we discover, we synthesize new drug na lesser ang iyang side effect but equally effective sa mga prototype. Diba? Soon, mag-research naman mo. Okay? So, dapat inanay ninyo ang mindset niyo. Okay? Nag-micro na mo, no? Familiar mo sa cephalosporin. Diba na siya different generation? Diba? First gen, second gen, third gen, fourth. Diba cephalosporin? Sige. It's either mag-imo ka nga more effective than the old version. Mag-imo ka ng drug mo nga less effective than na siya side effect. Sige, let's have the clinical uses. Kapit na mo mag-research. Excellent. And by friends niya, so dapat meron pa lang na mga inyong mga nagkakalian. Dabi kung 6 pa ako nga friend, natin mo yung FO. By 4 kasi na siya. Unless may sobra. Sa isa pa section, pag-divide into 4, may isa na sobra. Nag-grupo nga more than 4 sila. So, karoon pa lang mga. Diba, malo? Sige. Okay. Nagkamulo siya research. Diba ikaw ang kamulo research? Hindi ka na siya Davao. Hindi ka mag-Davao, right? Pilan yung gasto sa research? Estimated.
Ang nabayad ko sa WDL kay 19,000.
Pero estimated ka na, tanan-tanan yun.
Sa like, apil na.
Yes, tanan-tanan. From the very beginning until, tanan expenses travel.
Sa parang
50.
Mamon sa mga vision naman.
Isa sa mga less expenses. Na mga 80 to 100,000. Sige, let's have the clinical uses. Tara, ano lang yun siya? Idea lang no, sa research. Kami gagawa kita na ng-research. Di ba na pwede nga ang bakod na research? Example sa sige, let's have clinical uses. Okay, still H1 blocker ha. H1 with blockers. Saan sila clinically useful? Okay, first on the list, of course, sa allergic reaction. Diba antihistamine, kung ano ka antihistamine, it's really for allergy. Okay? So for the prevention and treatment of allergic reaction, the most effective between the two generations, it's the first gen. Kasi first generation could penetrate the triple B. Okay? Next, there are also H1 blocker used in the management of Parkinsonism. Okay, let me give you an overview. What is Parkinsonism? It's a neurodegenerative condition kung saan declining na ngayon yung activity ng utak to release dopamine. Kaya yung problem dito is mababa yung dopamine and with regards to acetylcholine, taas yung acetylcholine. So yan yung underlying problem kapag may Parkinsonism. Again, it's a neurodegenerative disease. Declining na ngayon yung work activity ng utak to secrete dopamine. And then, when we check the acetylcholine level in the brain, taas yung acetylcholine. Now, why is it pwede gamitin ng H1 blocker? Specifically, yung mga first generation na H1 blocker. Kasi, recalling, aside from their activity to block histamine 1 receptor, di ba meron silang additional na anti-cholinergic effects. So, kumbaga, with the use This drug, for example, diphenhydramine, which is an H1 blocker, because it has additional anticholinergic effect, kaya nang i-counteract, no? Yung mga symptoms associated sa pagtaas ng acetylcholine. Kasi pag may acetylcholine, probable na cholinergic toxidrome will be observed, no, sa pasyente. So, anticholinergic effect yung pwede, no, na could oppose those symptoms caused by pagtaas ng acetylcholine. So, that's the reason why there are cases na to manage Parkinsonism na symptoms, binibigay is yung mga gamot na may anticholinergic action. Okay, also, diphenhydramine, which is an H1 blocker, pwede siya for the management of EPS. EPS stands for extrapyramidal symptoms. Extrapyramidal syndrome. Or symptoms. Extrapyramidal symptoms. When you say extrapyramidal symptoms, these are actually associated symptoms induced by a drug. And majority of the drugs that causes EPS, yun yung mga antipsychotics. So, antipsychotics induce na siya ng mga symptoms. Kapag ang tao is taking antipsychotics, kasi nga, diagnosed siya with psychosis, yan, normal na merong observable na EPS or extrapyramidal symptoms along sa iyang treatment journey, no, with the use of antipsychotics. And good thing, meron tayong mga gamot to treat the EPS, the extrapyramidal symptoms. Sige, let me give you an idea. What are the top 3, no, types of EPS? Overview lang to. We will have a detailed discussion on EPS, antipsychotic drugs, sa finals. Okay, number 1 is yung akathisia. Akathisia. Ito yung pagkakaroon ng restlessness sa motor movements or uncontrollable motor movements. Okay? And then we also have pseudo-Parkinsonism. Pag sinabing pseudo-Parkinsonism, these are associated with symptoms the same with having Parkinsonism. Pseudo means, what do you mean by pseudo? False, fake. Okay, hindi yung totoo or natural na sakit na Parkinsonism. But the symptoms associated sa pseudo-Parkinsonism, the same with the natural one, the Parkinsonism. Nagkakaroon ng tao ng, example, tremors, rigidity, shuffling gait, deadlift. And then lastly, na EPS, yung acute dystonia. Acute dystonia, yung common na clinical manifestation is yung pagkakaroon ng torticollis. It's actually a medical term referring to twisting of the neck. Twisting of neck. Okay? So these are examples lang ng EPS. And going back to diphenhydramine administered intravenously, ang specific EPS na iyakang minamanage or treat is yung number 3 on the list. It is actually the drug of choice for acute dystonic or dystonia. Acute dystonia. Okay? Or acute dystonic crisis. Okay, so take note of this. Actually, majority of the EPS can be treated with anticholinergic na gamot. That's also the good thing, no, with diphenhydramine kasi meron siyang anticholinergic na activity or anticholinergic effect. Pwede siya to manage EPS, particularly yung acute dystonia. But we actually have an EPS that is not treated with anticholinergic, yung akathisia. Usually, yung given dito is yung mga benzodiazepines. We'll discuss that sa finals. Ito, parang brief overview lang. So that you'll have an idea why nakasulat dyan for the management of PPS. It's actually the diphenhydramine we are referring to. Isang antihistamine H1 blocker. It's a drug of choice for acute dystonia. Next, we have H1 blocker that are used as sleeping aid. Example, yung mga ethanolamines. In the market, we have this brand, Unisong. Ang component nito, it's either diphenhydramine or doxylamine. Doxylamine. Okay? Next, there are also H1 blocker for the management of motion sickness. So ito yun, yung Bonamine. Anti-motion sickness. Meclizine. Also, ito na-mention to, may mga antihistamine component of cold preparation, yung mga alkylamines, like brompheniramine, chlorphenamine, or chlorpheniramine. Sa Decolgen, na ano siya, ang chlorpheniramine. Bioflu, sa Nuzet, na siya, chlorphenamine. Ito na-mention to kanina, promethazine, isang pre-anesthetic agent. And then for the management of serotonin syndrome, yung cyproheptadine. Kasi nga meron siyang anti-serotonergic action. So those are the clinical uses of H1 blocker. Done? Okay, let's have the adverse effects. For the adverse effects, these are just extension of their pharmacological effect. Pero sabi natin, particularly yung mga first generation. Ang mga first generation H1 blocker, they are highly sedating. Kasi they could penetrate, diba, the triple B. They are highly lipophilic. Majority of them are non-polar. Also, they have significantly observed anticholinergic effects. So, yung opposite lang ninyo ang dumbbells. Yun yung mga possible adverse effects, specifically among first generation na H1 blocker. First gen H1 blockers. And finally, meron tayong gamot na antihistamine H1 blocker, specifically si fexofenadine, classified as cardiotoxic. So, it causes toxicity sa cardiac cell. Specifically, when it is combined with terfenadine and astenosol, these are actually antimicrobials. But good thing, they have been withdrawn already in the market kasi nga, these are enzyme inhibitors. Ang tendency kasi, if they are given concomitantly with example, fexofenadine, what will happen is, ma-inhibit ngayon yung enzyme na kailangan to metabolize fexofenadine. Ito yung enzyme na yun. Ma-inhibit nila. Hindi ngayon ma-metabolize in the body yung fexofenadine. Kasi nga, with these drugs, as enzyme inhibitors, they will inhibit the degradation enzyme ni fexofenadine. What will happen? This will be accumulated in the body, specifically in the cardiac cell, leading to arrhythmias. Kasi yung ginagawa nila, they cause prolongation of QT interval. Prolongation of QT interval. To simplify this term, nagkakaroon ng irregular heart rhythm ngayon. Heart rhythm. Irregular heart rhythm. Kaya nakalagay dyan, arrhythmias. Pag sinabing arrhythmias, irregular na yun yung heart rhythm, yung heartbeat. Okay, so yun yung mga adverse effects related to selected histamine 1 blockers. Okay, let's proceed to histamine 2 blockers. What time is it? Okay, histamine 2 blockers class, obviously, they block, inhibit the activation of histamine 2 receptor. Saan ulit? Ang mga histamine 2 receptor sa parietal cells. Okay? Therefore, blockade of histamine 2 receptor, kumusta ngayon yung level ng gastric acid secretion? Decrease. Okay? Decrease ngayon or inhibited yung gastric acid secretion. So, these are examples of histamine 2 blocker. Ending in tidine. Cimetidine, ranitidine, nizatidine, famotidine. They are arranged based on potency. Most potent on the list is famotidine. Least potent naman si cimetidine. Ranitidine, additional information lang. This is marketed under the brand name Zanta. Ang nizatidine naman, kindly add there in your notes, it is only available in oral preparation. Walang ibang dosage form, no? Preparation, si nizatidine, only oral prep. Unlike si cimetidine, si ranitidine, famotidine, na sila different form or dosage forms available. Pwede sila parenterally prepared, meron din silang oral preparation. Okay? So, si nizatidine is only available for oral. Okay? Oral prep. Okay, let's have the clinical uses. So, kung ang action nila, they inhibit the gastric acid secretion, so clinically useful sila sa mga sakit na may kinalaman sa pagtaas ng acidity sa stomach. Kaya nakalagay dyan, they can be used for the management of GERD. Pero what is the first line? PPI. What does PPI stands for?
Proton-pump-inhibitor.
Ano yung ending sa pangalan pag PPI? Prazole, omeprazole, esomeprazole, pantoprazole, antoprazole. Yun yung mga PPIs. Bakit most efficacious pa rin sila kung ikukumpara sa mga versus H2 blocker? Kasi they do not inhibit only histamine, but also other endogenous compounds like gastrin and acetylcholine. Okay, si H2 blocker, ang ialang inhibit lower is only the histamine. Okay? Management for acid peptic diseases. But the first line, it's still PPI. So, pwede sila. Pwede pa rin yung H2 blocker. Pero ano yung first line, it's the PPI. So, saan sila first line or drug of choice for the management of acute GI ulcer bleeding? And they are given intravenously. Pag acute, no? Acute condition. GI ulcer bleeding. And lastly, pwede sila adjunct in the management of allergic reactions. Okay? And this will be the last slide. Okay. Pwede po ba sa saan ka ba? Sa window. Sa window sa aircon. Kasama sa window sa aircon. Please. Careful. Basta, Thank you so much. Okay, for the adverse effects.
Kailap ako.
Okay, majority of the adverse effects may kinalaman sa
Wala ko tayo na over
side
bago
effects,
na
adverse effects ng cimetidine. Most of them, it's because of cimetidine. So una, enzyme inhibitor yung cimetidine. Okay? Meaning it inhibits the enzyme degradation of some drugs. Example, hindi na ako mabugal ka iyo. Pwede ko mag-unit? Pwede ko mag-excuse?
Cute lang.
Pero last slide.
Sige, L ka na. Capital L.
Kung madagan ka, then mo na mo line, real na real. Ako'y mo tanggas.
Nagpakon na ikaw ron. Date niya.
Wala, trip ko lang.
Okay lang yung kayo na.
Yun lang, bawal.
Nga.
Mag-book daw siya.
Ha?
Secret. Wala, uy. Wala ko'y uyab. Wala ko'y kachat. Ganon ang aking atake. Wala ka basing gimingaw naman ko sa akong nawong. Sige raw mas baya.
Low-key person.
Loki. Stay loki. Ano ko busod di? Ako lang mag-J.
Kaya siya po, no? Wala siya signature.
May pa ako a rainbow. It means I'm gay.
Talagang red.
Yung no, murag si Juan, si Agri.
Okay, regarding the adverse effects of H2 blocker, majority of them are associated with the drug cimetidine. Okay, first on the list, take note, cimetidine causes enzyme inhibition. And if that is the characteristic of a drug, very much careful siya when concomitantly given to another drug because it will cause drug-to-drug interaction. End result, pwede niyang ma-lower yung expected efficacy na pwede i-offer dapat ng isang gamot. Okay, for example, if the patient is given with an analgesic, example, the analgesic is codeine. Yung codeine kasi sa katawan, requirement na kailangan muna siyang ma-metabolize to form its active metabolite. Yung active form of codeine is yung gold standard analgesic, yung morphine. You're familiar with morphine, right? Okay. Morphine is actually a gold standard analgesic na drug. Okay? So siya, mismo merong higher analgesia na effect or response sa katawan. So, here, we could tell na pro-drug pa lang si codeine. So, yun yung binigay, codeine. Once taken in the body, it will be metabolized into its active form, which is morphine. However, what if yung pasyente is taken concomitantly with an enzyme inhibitor like cimetidine? Ang gagawin ni cimetidine, i-inhibit niya yung metabolism ni codeine. Therefore, hindi mabubuo yung active form niya. Kaya dili na mag-metabolize, inhibit na niya yung enzyme that will catalyze the metabolism of codeine in the body, thus causing only subtherapeutic effect sa tao. Subtherapeutic lang yung effect. Hindi na-achieve yung full effect na dapat na-expected sa drug na codeine. Kasi nga, dapat ma-metabolize siya, di ba, sa katawan to form morphine. Okay? That's why there are a lot of cases wherein ang submitted din talagang hindi dapat siya binibigay concomitantly to other drugs. This is a good example. Sa COVID, may mga antibiotics, yan. Hindi siya sinasabay ba? Kasi nga, nagpo-cause siya ng enzyme inhibition. Another thing, anti-androgenic effects. That is also associated by the drug cimetidine. Okay? And pag sinabing anti-androgenic effect,
Kumain mo
it
na itusok
inhibits
sa ako.
the binding of dihydrotestosterone to androgen receptor. The usual clinical presentation ng anti-androgenic effect is yung pagkakaroon ng gynecomastia. Gynecomastia, it tells us na nagkakaroon ng enlargement of breast among males.
Oh.
Okay? That could be caused by cimetidine. Yun yung gynecomastia. It's an anti-androgenic effect. Lastly, it could increase prolactin levels. Example, galactorrhea.
Nag-take ka, guys, namin to.
Pwede siyang mag-cause ng galactorrhea. Kasi namin galactorrhea, increase ngayon yung milk production, okay, sa tao. Kahit hindi lactating yung tao, hindi siya pregnant woman, nag-cause siya ng increased milk production. This is also associated sa cimetidine na gano'n. Okay, so maraming adverse effects, no, yung cimetidine. Okay, so that's all for anti-histamines. Okay, short doctor is